Alright, so it's been a little while now since Nikocado Avocado broke the internet by releasing his video titled 2 Steps Ahead, in which he revealed to us that he had done the impossible. He had lost all his weight, but did so over the span of 2 years while uploading a huge backlog of content, tricking the entire internet. But now it's been around a couple weeks since it was released, so I ask you this question: has the shock subsided yet? Can we talk about how his weight was never the problem? I mean, seriously, have we forgotten who this person is? Or did that many new people find him thinking this is some sort of a redemption story? Yes, the weight loss is very impressive, of course. But why are people making it out to be like he was born this way? Like he was being bullied for something that he couldn't control? All of this was self-inflicted. He claims that this is all a social experiment. Yeah, sure. If it was a botched social experiment, this monologue of him saying he's 2 steps ahead while being severely overweight in 2022 wasn't even the first time he hinted at this. And let's not forget the real-world damage he has caused to both his audience and other content creators. Excusing that as a social experiment just sounds like a prankster from 2015. But here's the thing. I still believe that he was 2 steps ahead, not in regards to his weight, not in regards to this botched social experiment, but in terms of something else. How his YouTube channel was never about mukbang. No, it was about something way more sinister, a way to attract certain people to consume a different type of content. We'll be talking about Nikocado Avocado like no one on YouTube has ever done before. So strap in, say goodbye to your innocence, and let's do this. Our story begins in Ukraine, out of all places, where Nicholas Perry, otherwise known as Nikocado Avocado, was born. He was adopted by an American couple who then went back to their home state of Pennsylvania and raised him there. He then went on to do a variety of different things before starting his YouTube channel. For example, he majored in violin performance in college and even performed at Carnegie Hall. Pretty damn big deal. He was even interviewed and said that this opportunity fulfilled every musician's dream. Between 2011 and 2012, he made a living as a freelance violinist and a Home Depot worker, and moved to New York City in 2013 to pursue his dream of playing in a Broadway orchestra. But he found it difficult to fulfill this dream when there were so many other talented musicians competing with him. This was also around the time where he would decide to become a vegan. He would meet his future partner and husband, ORLIN Home, on a Facebook group for vegan men. This is when ORLIN would encourage him to come to Colombia and live with him, and Nick did exactly that. ORLIN actually was the one to encourage Nick to make his own YouTube channel back in 2014, and he did. He'd go on to make videos centered around his vegan lifestyle and would also upload violin covers. I would argue that the first major turning point in Nick's life wasn't when he created the YouTube channel, but when he made this video, titled, "Why I'm No Longer a Vegan YouTuber." This is his oldest video on the channel from September 2016. All the other older videos of him being a vegan and playing the violin have been privated. Guys, this could not be a more normal video. He's out here talking about his experiences with veganism, how it started to affect his health, his opinions on it, the people who influenced him to finally take this decision. It was a very well thought out conversation, and he made a lot of good points. You know, back then YouTube was actually very different. Many of the top YouTubers were converting to veganism and were absolutely imploring their followers to do the same. It felt like a Scientologist cult. So he was one of the first people to go against the grain, and it performed very well. Even though most of his followers were vegan and were following him for vegan content, he still made it a point to explain his point of view without throwing them under the bus, while acknowledging their choices and telling them that this was his choice. His channel was more centered on lifestyle and sometimes maybe featured recipes and eating, but it wasn't a full-fledged mukbang channel until he started with the cheesiest mac and cheese video right here. This video was very significant, not just because he was renouncing veganism, but because this was when he would start making mukbang videos. And he was one of the first American men to do so. Mukbang is a concept that was born in South Korea in the early 2010s. It's about someone sitting in front of a camera, eating, and talking to the audience, socializing with them. Nick's first mukbang video did very well, and within 2 weeks had over 20,000 views. He saw an opportunity, so he kept going. He was incorporating meat into his diet, dairy, any products he wasn't able to eat during his many years as a vegan. But then, as you scroll down through his oldest videos, you will see the first turning point in his entire YouTube career, which led us here today. And that's the video titled, "I Don't Want to Be Vegan Anymore." This is really interesting. At this point, he wasn't fat at all. And yet, I can see very big similarities between this thumbnail and something like this from 2020. He would have this technique where he would make his face more red than it actually is, always highlighting the same spots. You can see this in this thumbnail as well. 2 exaggerated red spots above his eyes, very red cheeks, and of course, the signature Nikocado avocado crying face. This video was a stark contrast from this video, where he was talking like a normal human being. This one was not only saying that veganism is bad, but straight up making vegans look bad, going up against them. As you can see from the like and dislike ratio, this wasn't received very well, right? Most of his audience at the time was still vegan, and he was practically insulting every single one of them. He even doubles down here and makes another video, even longer, called "Why Veganism is Wrong and Makes People Go Crazy." Yet again, taking the same approach with him crying, making these faces, and demonizing all his vegan viewers, saying that he's been receiving a lot of hate comments ever since he stopped being vegan and that he can't handle it anymore. The thing with Nick at this point is that he was only testing the waters. He was curious. He knew drama sold on YouTube, but he wanted to see how far he could push it, and well, it worked very well, more than he could have ever imagined. He was able to measure this level of success when the Daily Mail would make an article just about him, titled "YouTube Star Made Famous for Eating Vegan Food on Camera Breaks Down in Tears During a Bizarre Video Rant Renouncing Veganism and Insisting It Is Wrong and Makes People Go Crazy." He loved it so much that he made an entire video just reading through it and talking about it. This to him was his eureka moment. Like, oh my god, I know what to do now. This is easy as hell. I'm gonna keep doing these over-dramatized videos from time to time, and I'm gonna keep eating a lot of meat to piss off the vegans so that they keep talking about me, and that's exactly what he did. You can see this in his videos. You would scroll down, you'd see him eating stuff, being happy, smiling, and then all of a sudden, "Breaking Vegan, the benefits of eating meat again." Yet another inflammatory title towards the vegan community. Same type of thumbnail, where he's looking like he's about to break down crying. You scroll down some more, and then you see "My compulsive eating, not appropriate for children." You scroll down some more, and then you see "I'm sorry, I was wrong." Again, same type of thumbnail. And just judging by the views, there is a stark contrast between the upload before it and after it. And for the most part, it was harmless. This was only limited to himself, and this wasn't the first time someone on YouTube back then was making content like this. One of the best examples of this was Boogie2988. He would play a character called Francis, your stereotypical fat gamer with anger issues, and he would get a lot of views thanks to this. Nikocado was essentially taking a page from his playbook. But one thing you need to really understand about Nikocado Avocado, or just Nicholas Perry, is that he is never satisfied. Every time he reaches a higher level, he asks himself, okay, how can I get even higher? This is when he would start to include ORLIN, his partner, in this whole scheme. But here, in order to achieve a grander effect, he would start to blur the lines between fiction and reality. Before that, though, the only interactions they'd have on his channel were positive. They were just filled with wholesomeness. For example, this video right here titled "He Said Yes, Mukbang and Recipe" would be when ORLIN would finally propose to Nick in the cutest way possible. Guys, you have to watch this. It's adorable, especially since everything onwards will be terrible. No, but really, there's something important in this video that most people didn't really notice up until it was too late. Watch.
Well, that's really good for you. It's good for your skin and your hair.
ORLIN, I'm like in the middle of playing. Hold on.
You love your hair.
What's
your hair?
Hold on, let me play. I'm gonna play this, and then we can start. We'll just put that with the pasta.
No, we didn't know. It's really good for you. You really want this avocado. It's a special one.
ORLIN, why are you being so weird? What's wrong with you?
Here, you really want this avocado. You really want it.
What are you doing?
It's an avocado.
How did you? What?
Will you marry me?
Isn't that just so wholesome? I'm sure you're smiling right now, but I have news for you. It was all staged. This was all fake. ORLIN actually proposed to Nick in a national park in Colombia, and they just reenacted this whole proposal on the video because they thought it would be fun. You see, normally I would have sat here and thought, okay, well that's cute, I don't mind, it's whatever. But then I have this realization. If they were such good actors back in 2017, then in this video posted in 2021, is there a single thing that's real here? Did they just become better actors? We'll get to that later. But you can see how quickly things evolved, and they hadn't even gained an unhealthy amount of weight yet. The happiness after this marriage proposal didn't really last long. In fact, it barely lasted at all. All the content involving ORLIN after this would be mostly negative, with very few videos being positive. Nikocado Avocado would start posting videos of him complaining about his relationship with ORLIN and how bad things were, saying that this is especially sad for him because they haven't even gotten officially married yet and doesn't know what to do. But this wasn't just an exaggerated character anymore. This wasn't just Francis from Boogie 2988 being Nikocado Avocado. No, he would start to touch on some very dark topics, like how some of his attitudes toward ORLIN would start to hurt him, how he was dealing with a lot mentally, how he was thinking of evaporating his soul out of his body and leaving the planet for good, if you get what I'm saying. If you were a viewer of his back then, you must have been so confused. It's like, what happened? This is when Nick would start to take full advantage of the compassion and empathy his audience had for him and made it look so effortless in the process, as if he didn't care, and spoiler alert, he never cared. This is also when he would start to film himself gaining weight, saying things like, I don't know why I'm gaining weight, this is so weird, filming all these angles of his body. You know, there's a reason he was doing this. Even back then, 7 years ago, he knew exactly what he was doing, and I would say that the people involved, the people encouraging this behavior, were already present back then. This is a very important video that serves as the first instance towards what Nikocado Avocado's channel would be for, his dark secret that many still don't understand. I will touch on this later in the video, but just bear in mind, this is when he would start to gain weight, in 2017. The weight gain back then, though, still wasn't really a concerning priority. Nick and ORLIN had finally managed to get married by flying to the US and sealing the deal in a courthouse there. And people were hoping for the best. You know, they seemed happy. They went to Chick-fil-A afterwards as a middle finger to Chick-fil-A because they don't support gay marriage. And overall, the audience was nothing but happy for them. You know, the only dislikes I can think of are people coming years later or vegans at the time. There is, of course, a stark contrast, though, between the comments left 7 years ago being all positive and the comments left 2020 onwards being all negative. And there's a reason for that, of course. After the marriage, though, things between Nick and ORLIN would only become more disturbing. In this video titled Why We Broke Up, coming out of nowhere, it's like, wait, I thought you guys just got married. What happened? They talk about how they had broken up and just reunited together again. And in it, they touch on some pretty uncomfortable topics. For example,
and then he had another. You have another one? Well, you double dipped and you had a mutual friend.
There was like 4 or 5 in DC.
4 or 5, yeah.
Dude, I was like, whoa!
Whoa, wow. Okay, there was...
Oh, God.
Okay.
Here, they're talking about how many people Nick had slept with while they were taking a quote-unquote break before getting back together. Now watch a bit more and tell me if you can notice something that is a bit obvious. Let's go.
Okay. And in New York, there was like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I got to London, I was just...
You tried to get like 2 in London, but it didn't work out.
No.
You tried to do one in Pennsylvania, 2 at our friend's house, and it also didn't work out.
My friend's house? Who's one?
Our friend.
Oh.
You tried to do one there, but like...
Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but it's very obvious that everything here is made up. They're making numbers out of their asses, and they're sometimes like looking at each other like, oh, what do you mean? Oh, you mean that? Okay, so this is improv. Their acting, of course, throughout the years has gotten so much better, but back then they still had a lot of work to do. The idea here was simple. Nick had seen how many views he was getting for acting all crazy and thought, you know what, the next level would be to have a crazy relationship, or to at least make it seem that way. This was nothing more than him trying to shock his audience with content not seen anywhere else on YouTube. But people at the time just couldn't tell. You know, there was a massive clue here, the fact that this was uploaded on April 1st, 2017, and still, people couldn't tell. The comments saying things like, the laughing from ORLIN looks like it's a defense mechanism and he's just hurting. For some reason, ORLIN strikes me as someone with zero confidence. It's really sad. He seems nice, but in a pitiful way. Cheating is disgusting and inexcusable, period. So far, Nick had already done many videos complaining and crying about ORLIN and how he doesn't want him anymore. About how bad he thinks he is and how he can't live with himself anymore. And the audience believed it. Why wouldn't they? The reason they must have started watching Nick back then was because, unlike other YouTubers, he was actually honest about veganism. He was someone who would share his ups and downs. He would sit there and eat food and talk about his life and stories that he had gone through. People saw him as a friend they could trust. So at this point, yes, this could have genuinely been an April Fool's joke by these two. Maybe they were genuinely planning on uploading a video the next day saying that this was a prank, clarifying things. But I think seeing the attention they were receiving and seeing the types of comments that were being left on the video only made Nikocado Avocado want to keep going. Why ruin the illusion? Why make people think that they were stupid? Why give that to people? There was simply no reason to anymore. Nick would keep growing, reaching 500,000 subscribers by 2018, but would keep the same strategy going. A lot of mukbangs, and then tragic news, him crying again on the thumbnail. A lot of food, and then all of a sudden, he broke my heart. This video was very significant because this was the first time we saw Nick in such a state. He was shirtless, clearly having gained weight, not hiding it, ugly crying throughout the video and gorging his mouth with food. But the very sensitive topics would continue. He said that every day I have to wake up and hope that ORLIN hasn't died, and starts to talk about some sort of autoimmune disease he has that could take his life at any time. Again, just picture yourself as an audience member, someone who watches him for his mukbang content, who likes to listen to his stories, to what he has to say, and then you see this. At a certain point, his audience had lost track of what's real and what isn't, what's factual and what's fiction. No one knew. Genuinely no one knew. Because why the hell would anyone do this to themselves? Why would you cry on camera and post it? Why would you gain so much weight and show it off? It just didn't make any sense. At this point, he wasn't doubling down or tripling down or quadrupling down or quintupling down. He was sextupling down, okay? There are 6 videos of this type uploaded in quick succession, with most of them being filmed in the same room. He broke my heart. He broke up with me on Instagram. The reason why my husband left me. I've had enough with him holding a knife. My ex-husband forced me to delete this, not for kids. Catching my husband going behind my back, deleted video. Oh, and of course we can't forget our final video together, making it seem like they're actually breaking up. The views don't lie, they speak for themselves. And we can also see part of Nikocado's strategy here that wasn't obvious back then, the fact that he pre-records a lot. I don't think it's crazy to say that all 3 of these videos were recorded in the same day. He had found a formula, and it was working, but it was leaving his audience in the dark. People didn't know whether to be concerned or worried about his health, about his safety, if they needed to call the cops, if they needed to contact authorities. But of course, just like any videos, any content creator on YouTube, there were people there that were laughing their asses off over his ugly crying and how he wasn't making any sense. He simply wouldn't stop. More videos of him ugly crying, and videos of him complaining about his appearance. Again, showing off his body, showing off his double chin, showing off his evolution. But then you'd randomly see ORLIN eating food with him. People didn't know what to think. Nikocado Avocado would keep growing and even reach 1 million subscribers, continuing to do what he's been doing for the last couple of years and not showing any sign of stopping. In fact, he would take the decision to turn it up a notch. This time to a turning point for many. In the video, Nobody Likes Me, I'm Done, he just sat there crying, not saying a single word. He was just crying. Nothing made sense. He had noodles with eggs in front of him. He took out a razor and shaved his hair onto the food. But to make matters even weirder, he would smear the eggs on his face and then attach the hair on himself to make himself seem like he had some sort of a beard. And the video just ended there. This video was too much, even for someone like Nikocado. His audience had been dealing with a lot of clickbait, with a lot of things they didn't know whether to believe or not, but to many this was actually a turning point. Many chose to not support him anymore or just watch him to see how far he'd go down the rabbit hole. To many this was someone losing his mind. But he wasn't. The signs were there. The video right afterwards is called Chick-fil-A with my ex-boyfriend, his first time mukbang. And just watch this clip, it'll make sense.
I mean, I did have I shaved my head completely once.
See, you can relate to the video. You had a Britney Spears moment too. I think we all.
Yeah, but I didn't cry and scrape an egg to my face.
I don't know about you, but if I was having a breakdown and was genuinely losing my mind, I wouldn't be laughing at this in the video right after it. It was clear that even back in December 2018, this was nothing more than a way for him to get views and clickbait. He didn't take it seriously, and he didn't really care about anyone concerned about him. He was just doing it for the attention. But this is yet another turning point, not because of how crazy this video was, but because making content on himself and ORLIN just wasn't enough anymore. He needed to include other people. And this is where things really started to get out of hand. More so than he could have ever bargained for. Now, every once in a while on YouTube, you have a drama that occurs that is so big, so earth-shattering that it becomes an integral part of YouTube history. One of those dramas were back in 2018 involving one of, if not the biggest English-speaking mukbanger at the time by the name of Veronica Wang. As you can see at the time, she could make a video of her eating a lot of noodles and she would get over 10 million views. She would get millions of views like it was nothing. She made it look easy. But how did it all begin? Well, as mukbang was becoming more and more mainstream, you started to have meme channels. They would take out of context clips from long mukbang videos and make meme edits out of them. And they were pretty damn popular. This one, for example, sitting at 4.1 million views, highlighting how in a mukbang collab with another mukbanger by the name of Stephanie Sue, Veronica wasn't listening to the conversation at all and was just focused on the food. Now, at the center of this drama was a meme channel like this by the name of MUKBANG, sitting at 44,000 subscribers at the time, so significantly smaller than Veronica Wang. Look, this whole incident can be summed up very easily. Veronica Wang ended up striking 2 videos from MUKBANG's channel after saying that she liked the edits. It didn't make any sense. It later turned out that she considered these videos to be a form of cyberbullying and argued that she was receiving hate comments purely because of them. She defended herself in the worst ways possible, throwing her friends under the bus and throwing her audience under the bus too. She did every wrong thing imaginable from a PR standpoint. She really screwed up royally. Compared to other dramas on YouTube, it was so petty. But it still blew out of proportion because this was the mukbanger community's first major drama of this scale. This is when many would turn on Veronica wholeheartedly, but at the same time, this was when Nikocado Avocado would see an opportunity. He saw a way bigger creator get a lot of hate, so he jumped on the bandwagon and made himself the defender of the smaller creators. MUKBANG had made a video exposing Veronica Wang and the fact that she had striked their channel 2 times. On the video, he wrote this very well thought out comment in which he called out Veronica for being a weird two-faced liar, saying she liked the videos and then striked them shortly after, and made the comparison saying, "I am the most targeted and made fun of. Literally hundreds of videos made about me, we all know this, but I don't strike them with false copyright complaints. I don't disable my comments either. People are entitled to their own opinions." So Veronica gets her first one made about her. Literally, I've never seen a video made about her before, and she nearly bans you from YouTube completely? That's awful. And then ends this by saying, "And before any of you say I'm creating drama, all of this was done publicly by her. Everybody is able to respond or react to what she has already disclosed publicly. No hate to anybody, just my honest thoughts." So as I said, this was a very easy stance to take. Veronica was going on a complete crash out. She even commented on this video herself, doubling down and not apologizing. She just couldn't stop sabotaging herself and genuinely thought she was in the right. She would keep doubling down and go live on Instagram to defend herself further. Nick wouldn't leave her alone though. He'd still be there, publicly calling out her hypocrisy for everyone to see. Similarly to the Mr. Beast drama going on in 2024, this incident was so massive that it had created careers. Many channels were talking about it. But more importantly, Nick was understanding very quickly that this was the way to go. This was the next logical evolution of his character. But this time, instead of limiting it to himself and his marriage, it would be about other YouTubers. This was a net positive for Nikocado Avocado. He had witnessed growth and at the same time, a change in public opinion. People were starting to like him more and more. He had made this video right here called "Veronica Wang Attacks Me and Spreads Nasty Lies," and the views speak for themselves. This was on his second channel, and this was a great way for him to grow that second channel as opposed to the first channel. And let's not forget the very positive like to dislike ratio, something Nick was not used to at all. He would make yet another video about Veronica Wang on his second channel. Things were going really well for him, so it only made sense that he'd want more of this content. He ended up getting exactly that, this time him being at the center of the drama and it being on a way larger scale. A few months after this drama, Nikocado would get into yet another drama, this time directly with the YouTuber Trisha Paytas. This is someone who has been nothing but controversial her entire career, and what she actually did to Nikocado Avocado was wrong. There was petty drama going on between them, right? Whatever. But Trisha released their conversations after editing things that Nick said and editing things that she said, trying to make him look bad. All Nick had to do was just show the original receipts. That's it. That's all he had to do. And he won the battle of public opinion. People were completely on his side. This was yet again a net positive for him. Again, the views speak for themselves, and the like to dislike ratio also speaks for itself. Things were going great, and he wasn't about to stop anytime soon. He hadn't made just one video on Trisha, he had made 3. He was milking this like crazy, and why wouldn't he? This was bringing traction to his entire channel. This drama content would continue with him sipping on tea, calling it tea mukbang, and it was doing wonders to both his channel and his reputation. He was starting to like this. He probably thought to himself that, man, I can get used to this. Until he flew too close to the sun, much like Icarus in Greek mythology, burning his wings off due to being overly confident and cocky, and having everything he has done so far backfire on him horribly, more than he could have ever imagined. On December 21st, 2019, Stephanie Soo would upload the video titled Why I Am Scared of Nikocado Avocado with a very concerning thumbnail of her crying. Even worse, the video starts off in a very concerning way that makes you think the worst has happened. Watch.
In and out of sleep.
In and out of sleep.
In and out. In and out.
Hopefully you can trust me now.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
Good. Whole Me Too movement.
Hashtag me too. Hi.
Yeah, people were very concerned about this intro. It was implying many bad things. So what the hell happened? Here's how it all started. Stephanie admired Veronica. In fact, she had shouted her out at some point in one of her videos, and this was a dream come true for Stephanie. At some point, they were finally able to meet up and do a collab together. The meme video I showed you earlier was actually from that first collab of theirs. During this collab though, Stephanie realized fairly quickly that her and Veronica were fairly different. Their personalities weren't as compatible as she had hoped, and that was fine. She still loved her, she had no hard feelings against her. Stephanie would later on form a friendship with Nick, and he made her feel like she could tell him anything. He had made her feel very comfortable. Anytime she'd have something she was awkward about or felt weird about, he would tell her, no, don't worry, I also feel the same way. She truly felt like she had found a kindred spirit in the mukbang community. To really emphasize just how much she trusted him and felt comfortable around him, she told him something that she doesn't usually tell anyone, which is the fact that she had gotten SA'd a couple years ago. This level of comfort allowed her to vent to him freely. She told him about how her experience with Veronica was exhausting, how she cared more about dyeing her hair pink than collabing together, how she had to drive her around town just to find a hairstylist that would do it. In her mind, it was just an innocent little vent. In Nick's mind, it was a content goldmine, another video with 1 million views that made him look good. So in 2019, Nick would come to LA to collab with both Stephanie Soo and another very big ASMR mukbanger by the name of Zach Choi. Stephanie would argue that Nikocado is a manipulator, that he had made her feel comfortable around him, and then as soon as he saw an opportunity, he struck. To justify this, Stephanie would use definitions such as gaslighting in juxtaposition to what she was talking about. The whole idea here is that he wanted to manipulate her in order for her to talk or quote-unquote spill the beans about Veronica on his channel while they were filming his mukbang video. He kept pressuring her in a very weird and pushy, awkward way in front of the camera, and she would do her best to react to it while deflecting to the best of her ability.
You want to share? Or do you change your mind now? You said you wanted to talk to your viewers with me here, but because you never talked to any of your viewers. And
I just remember feeling just shocked because the way...
The important thing to note here is that half of Stephanie was confident she had never told him she wanted to talk about it in public, and the other half was being gaslit so hard that she didn't even know whether to believe herself or Nick. Anytime she would try to kind of awkwardly move on from the topic, he would visibly be angry, and to her, that made her panic and be very uncomfortable because before the filming of this video, this dude was one of her closest friends in mukbang. They would film 2 videos that day, and they still had a third one to film the next day. She couldn't really sleep, she was having panic attacks. That was the whole point of this footage you saw in the beginning of the video. This implied something way worse, but it was just her partner calming her while she was crying. So she woke up very late, around 3 p.m, and let both Zach and Nick know that, hey, listen, I can't make it. I'm really sorry, but I'm really glad we were able to film some things yesterday. There's one thing I want you to really remember here. It's her saying, I've been in and out of sleep all afternoon after staying up late after getting back. The phrase, in and out of sleep. Alright? Keep that in mind. By that point, while she was sleeping, Nick had called her repeatedly, multiple times, and he was pissed at the fact that she just now messaged him, saying that he's been sitting there for 5 hours, and that when she was going in and out of sleep, she should have picked up her phone and called. He does not understand, even adding, "You didn't like it when Veronica did that to you," further hinting that he wanted her to talk about this publicly and that she was no better than someone she complained about. She again apologizes profusely. She's very sorry. She really can't state this enough. I mean, look at all this text, man. It's crazy. But Nick was not having any of it. He just said, "I've messaged you privately." And she argues that he just wanted to isolate her from Zach. She kept apologizing, and then there was this weird thing where Nick completely flipped the switch and it seemed like he was in a different personality state. She proposed to do it again while he was still in LA because he was leaving soon, and Nick just said, "Awesome. So which day would you like to reschedule for?" While this was happening, he had posted an Instagram post saying, "I'm this effing close to making an exposing video. Should I? What the F is wrong with people? So rude and so inconsiderate." Then posted on his story, "Making some tea, you guys. You won't believe the audacity people have, but I have a lot of receipts and audio clips." So at this point, he was so drama hungry that he was ready to create drama with just about anyone that he had any issue with, putting their career on the line and making it seem like it was all one big game. This isn't just him playing a character anymore, this is him putting other people's careers in jeopardy just because he was lacking bombshell content. And even worse, he was a straight up bully. Remember the phrase "in and out of sleep"? He would just straight up post this on his Instagram story with no context. It was just an inside joke between him and his friends, referencing Stephanie Sue's message. He would tag all his friends right here. You have Trisha, because they made up afterwards, Eric the Electric, ORLIN, and a bunch of other big mukbangers that were his friends. Even worse, he would start to mention it in his videos.
I was telling them a story about someone who, something happened, someone did something to me, and there was just a lot that broke my spirits. And I was telling them the story, and one of the inside joke from that story was "in and out of sleep." And you don't understand, but then I told a few other YouTubers, I tagged them on Instagram, as well as my friends, and they all know. I was like, they know the story, and the major thing that they take away from that was the in and out of sleep.
In and out of sleep.
I've just been in and out of sleep, and I don't know what's going on, but you know, I got things to do. I got things to do.
Have you been in and out of sleep?
I'm in and out of sleep. Oh my gosh. In and out of sleep right now.
They're like, what the That is the most obnoxious, bizarrest thing they've ever heard. Like, what the In and out of sleep, we turned something that really bothered me into something that we could laugh about. When we were at the club, I'm telling you, I should have put this on YouTube. But also, I mean, it's just you have to laugh about things to get over things. That's just what I believe. Well, it's us four plus the gay couple, the other gay married couple, and the girl and the gay guy. So it was all like 12 of us. We're all sitting together and we're like, in and out of sleep.
In and out of sleep.
In and out of sleep.
In and out of sleep. And then the people around us, in and out of sleep. In and out of sleep. And me and Honey started bawling with tears running down. We're like, in and out, in and out, in and out. Oh my God, it was so funny. And we're like, in and out of sleep. In and out of sleep. Oh my gosh.
So I know that people these days are offended very easily, but here's the thing. Even if you were to go back to the Modern Warfare 2 lobby days where anything could have been said, I think if you were to be in high school or college back then and you had something like this happen to you, it would still be considered bullying. Stephanie had felt uncomfortable around Nick. She gave an excuse the next day that she was in and out of sleep, that she couldn't really sleep very well, that she couldn't make it. It happens all the time. And for him to take that phrase and not only spread it with his friends, but people in the mukbang community, people, influential people, and even mention it in his videos, that to me is the definition of bullying. And no, he can't just say this was a social experiment, this was a character. This is nasty. And as you can see from this right here, Stephanie actually ended up making merch that says in and out of sleep, and all the proceeds went towards stopping cyberbullying. Nikocado would reply with his own video called R.E. Stephanie Sue, released a week afterwards, and within the first 5 minutes it only made him look worse. One of the things that Stephanie was alleging was that he impeded on the privacy of her own home by taking pictures without her knowing when she went to the bathroom. She saw this on her camera feed but couldn't really show it because it went against California state laws. Nick had shown that no, he never impeded on her privacy. He took a picture with her there. Everything was fine. You'll see later why that was not the case. He then said that no, actually, I wasn't gaslighting anyone. Stephanie told me that she wanted to talk about Veronica publicly. He showed this message in August of her saying that she'd like to make a documentary of her to show the world that Veronica wasn't really that bad of a person. That even though she had struck MUKBANG, people went way too hard on her. She really emphasized the fact that she wanted this to be drama-free. This is what Nikocado was talking about when he told her, but you wanted to spill the tea, but you wanted to talk about this. Why don't you want to talk about this on my video right now? But she had clearly told him by December that she didn't want to talk about it anymore, that this documentary was off the table. She changed her mind. He also says how he doesn't even like her, how he has to deal with her because that's typically what you do in a job. To him, mukbang and collabs are just like having an office job. You sometimes have to work with people you don't like. It was a very shocking contrast with what Stephanie had said, that she considered him a very good friend to her, that she felt like she was safe with him. A few days later, she made a video called How Nikocado Manipulated All of Us on her main channel, and this is when she would destroy his reputation once and for all. I'd say one of the biggest bombshells here is the fact that Zach Choi, who usually avoids drama, assisted Stephanie here by showing her what he was being sent by Nick as Nick was saying, "Awesome, so which day would you like to reschedule for?" As he was sending this to her, 20 minutes before, he had sent this to Zach saying, "I am exposing her tonight." This pretty much confirmed to her that the post he had made on Instagram saying, "I'm gonna expose someone soon," was about her. She also argued that the picture he took in her home wasn't what they agreed on. He had asked her if he could take a picture of her light setup because he loved it. She didn't even know she was going to be in the picture. She didn't agree to this. And additionally, what's even worse is that he took a picture of her security setup. This is where she can see all the security cams in her house. This is something that you don't want to show to anyone who might have ill intentions towards her. She decided to say, screw the California laws. I'm going to show a picture of him taking pictures of my place when I was in the restroom, but blurred so that he can't sue me. It says Nick is all alone while taking this pic. She would further prove that he's a hypocrite and a two-faced liar by showing the contradicting statements he made about meeting her for the first time in his R.E. Stephanie Sue video and in his videos beforehand. Watch.
This is not my fault. This is no one's fault but hers.
I think Stephanie's trying to capitalize on it. Remember what I said my first impression of Stephanie was? It was awesome, she was so nice, we went out to eat, we hung out for like 7 hours. She had like little gifts for me. She had like this nice little champagne and little snacks and a nice card. My first impression of Stephanie was very self-serving. I didn't give her a gift, we were just gonna hang out and get to know each other. That was my first impression, like warm and bubbly, gave me a hug, said hello. Very self-serving. Little welcome to Los Angeles gift for me, and I'm like, wow.
She seems like she'll be a nice person.
Very.
So that's the truth.
So which one's the truth?
That's the thing. Which one's the truth? Again, is this a character he's playing? Who cares? The thing is, Nick was going up against people who are very easy to go up against. Veronica Wang, Trisha Paytas, they were both bigger content creators than him that were disliked in general. It wasn't hard to make them look bad. But this time he went up against someone that was way more than he could chew. He got backed into a corner and he couldn't do anything about it. He was essentially cooked. And while Nikocado Avocado as a brand was completely in the gutter now, all the work he had done to rebuild it by siding with the smaller creators and going up against the big bad guys was gone, I should mention that there were still people who criticized Stephanie Sue. A great example of this is Turkey Tom, with his video titled, "Stephanie Sue is lying to you, the truth about mukbang." And this wasn't clickbait, by the way. This whole video goes against her, that her Why I'm Scared of Nikocado Avocado video was staged. She wasn't actually crying. She actually posed for the thumbnail, "This never happens in the video." She's doing this for attention, etc, etc. I think it's important to showcase all the opinions during a conflict, especially where you might have thought that this was very one-sided. While it might seem like this video is absolutely crazy, it's not, because as we'll see later, one of the people involved in this incident agrees with him. But the reason why I'm mentioning Turkey Tom's video is because there's a small clip here that I totally and wholeheartedly disagree with. I'll explain, but first, watch.
A lot has happened, and it's been really stressful.
If you're not already a fan of Stephanie, seeing these videos makes her seem a lot more sympathetic. And as for her fans, they're already bound to agree with what she says, especially based on the fact that her audience is relatively young. Her video reached more than 3 times her audience, making it very easy to paint herself as a different person than she is normally. Nick, meanwhile, is, well...
top of his head.
There's just no way of getting around the fact that Nick is overweight and constantly greasy. He doesn't come across as very attractive in his videos.
Look at his lips.
He has multiple years cataloged on his channel of him behaving like a lunatic on camera, often throwing tantrums, crying, and appearing to be extremely unnerving to most viewers. This allowed Stephanie to take control of the narrative, merely based off of the fact that Nick is more outwardly weird, and has been involved in a lot of drama in the past. He was already basically a joke by the time that Stephanie's video was released. This made it all the more easy for her to accuse him of being a number of things that she didn't have proof for, and
So this clip makes Nikocado Avocado out to be a victim. That just because he didn't have pretty privilege, Stephanie was able to accuse him of a number of things and ruin his career. This is really interesting to me because it's almost like Tom is saying that he was forced to make these weird videos. No one forced him to make these videos. No one forced him to take advantage of his audience for so long, blurring the line between reality and fiction like he's done for a while now. Yes, he's known for being involved in drama, but he always made it to the top of the drama. He always was getting a net positive out of this drama. Until someone that can articulate words better, someone who actually keeps receipts, showed up and showed the world his true colors. This was never about how he looked, or how he spoke, or hell, about his weird-ass videos where he cuts his hair over noodles and eggs. This was over his actions towards another YouTuber trying to make content out of someone else's career. But I will agree with Turkey Tom on one thing. It's that, yes, Nikocado Avocado's appearance is almost comical, but that only served to help him here. There's this meme that went viral recently, okay, where you see Why I'm Scared of Nikocado Avocado with Stephanie Sue literally on the brink of crying, and then on the bottom of the recommended you see our final video together mukbang, and I mean, the thumbnail speaks for itself. It's a disaster. What I'm trying to say is that after this video blew over, after this whole drama blew over, people didn't really take her warning very seriously. I mean, are you kidding me? You're scared of this guy? Like, come on. This dude that eats all day, that speaks like a comic book character, that is completely out of his mind. Come on. To look intimidating and scary, to make me really kind of understand your viewpoint that he's manipulative, he would have to lose a lot of weight. He would have to look like this. In any case, this is probably the biggest turning point in Nikocado Avocado's entire career thus far. By this point, he understood how this game worked. There was no recovering from this. He had messed with someone that he shouldn't have messed with. He completely overestimated just how much he could turn things around and lost miserably. He was now officially the villain. And he played that role very easily because that's what he was essentially doing before getting into drama with other YouTubers. But just like everything with Nick, he needed to take it to the next level. And he took it to the next level, to the point where he started crossing lines that were never crossed before. This time, not taking advantage of himself and ORLIN exclusively, not taking advantage of other YouTubers, no, he was done with that for the most part, but taking advantage of his most loyal audience members in some incredibly unethical theatrics. Losing the public image war against Stephanie Sue changed Nikocado Avocado forever. This could be seen with a video uploaded on his main channel called Nikocado Vegan Days vs. Now, just a few weeks after this whole drama had blown over. In it, you could see a direct comparison of how he used to be healthy on his vegan diet and how he is today very unhealthy and overweight. Many people were confused at first because it seems like it was uploaded by someone else, not him, like a fan channel or someone concerned for his health. The description of this video doesn't seem like it was written by him. It goes like this. He deleted old footage and clips. Nobody's seen these videos before until now. This is Nikocado Avocado back in the vegan days versus now. Has Nikocado Avocado changed? Was he healthy? Was he attractive? Was he skinny? If you look at him then versus now, you can clearly see his weight gain and him getting fat. He's fat. He's got fat. Nikocado is getting fat. And Nikocado has weight gain and weighing himself on the scale. He is full of drama now and people are saying he's crazy. He's having mental breakdown and lots of fights with ORLIN. He is getting divorced. People search Nikocado and ORLIN fight because they are fighting and crying. He is always having mental breakdown. He's very crazy and unstable. He hopes people keep making videos to bring awareness to the social experiment. What is happening to innocent, sweet Nick? This was written on January 23rd, 2020. This first mention of a social experiment. There are many reasons why he could be doing this, saying that it's a social experiment. It could be used as a crutch, very similar to the pranksters that used to be popular back in like 2016, 2017 on YouTube, that used to do these borderline illegal pranks, and then when people got mad at them, they would claim, oh guys, don't worry, it's just a social experiment. As far as I can tell from his content on YouTube, this was the first mention of a social experiment. But this wasn't enough to excuse his terrible actions that he would do to take advantage and manipulate his audience later on. As literally anyone would have guessed, his weight gain would come with massive consequences. This is an aspect he couldn't fake. Whether this was actually a character or a real person, it didn't matter. The weight was real. That's the only thing people knew was real. Now, Nikocado would probably frame this as, oh, people just wanted to see my downfall. They hated me. They watched me purely out of hate. But the truth is, most people wanted to see him finally lose weight and stop this lifestyle. And they were hoping that once the health issues would start to surface, it would finally be a wake-up call. They were so disappointed to find out that this would be no big deal for Nick. He didn't care. He talked about it in the most nonchalant way possible, almost to the point where he was ridiculing it. As far as I could tell, this was one of the first instances where Nikocado Avocado would tell his audience that he's diabetic. And words cannot describe how he took advantage of the situation. You have to watch it yourself. So go ahead, watch.
Oh, by the way, I went to the doctor the other day. I do have diabetes. I know a lot of people were kind of worried for me. They're like, people have been noticing change. So, you know, first of all, there's some signs, my feet tingling, and constantly drinking water. Like, I have been self-proclaimed drinking a gallon of water a day.
Click the link below to follow my Patreon. You'll get exclusive weekly.
This is a real clip. This is unedited. This is actually from the video. He actually is out here with a huge quantity of Popeyes, able to feed an entire family and more, talking about how he has diabetes, baiting people who care about his health into watching, and then halfway through him explaining, you see an advertisement for his Patreon. Can we take a step back here to really process this? Imagine anyone else doing this. Imagine Boogie2988 right now going on stream saying, I have diabetes, and then immediately cutting into an advertisement. This is how he would take advantage and manipulate his audience, but this is one of the many examples. Even worse, he would start making fun of his condition, making it seem like he was a survivor. Like, look at this video. What I'm eating as a diabetic survivor, uploaded to his third channel. He would sit there and eat a massive, ridiculous amount of food and would label it as him having his diabetic survivor diet. It wouldn't be that crazy to suggest that people who cared for him started to hate him, right? He would continue to embellish everything about his personality. He would become louder, crazier, weirder, and the lines between reality and fiction would blur so much that he would, quite frankly, become a caricature. He'd have these outbursts where he would randomly cry as soon as a piece of food falls, like this right here.
We're eating pop.
But this wasn't limited to just him, of course. He would go back to his days of 2017 to 2018 and recycle content in which he would include ORLIN in his antics. But this time, just like everything else, he would up the stakes. And it was way more dramatic. There are 3 videos with the title We Broke Up, all of them having the same thumbnails. Here's another 3 with the same idea. Nick crying like an idiot, and even a third one with ORLIN on his own YouTube channel saying he's cheating on Nick. Another video of him saying they broke up. Oh, what's this? An entire playlist of them breaking up and fighting? 78 videos? At this point, people had realized that Nick wasn't the only one who was gaining weight. It was also ORLIN gaining a lot of weight. The audience had come to the conclusion that these bad habits that Nick had rubbed off on ORLIN in a very bad way. This is a significant accusation, right? This is someone's life, their entire health. Their lifespan depends on this. And instead of clearing this up, they only added more fuel to this fire. Now there are like 20 videos of them breaking up, but in this one, a clip went viral in particular because ORLIN said this, and people took it very seriously, worrying for him. Watch.
I keep on fondling with this brightness. I can't be perfect. Yeah, just like you always tell me I'm not perfect. You turn the brightness up. I'm never perfect. You always say that I'm not perfect. I'm never perfect enough. You're so mean. Well, I'm never good enough. I even ruined my f***ing body. You ruined my life. You ruined my life.
Did I really ruin your life?
Yes, you did. You did. You ruined my life. I used to be so happy. It's all their thoughts. Not their food. Stop it. Don't make a mess because then I'll have to clean it.
I mean, what is this? Is this really mukbang at this point? No, this is just a really bad reality TV show. The only problem was that there was no disclaimer showing off that this was indeed a reality TV show. When you watch something like Keeping Up with the Kardashians on TV, you already know the cameras are trying to record a specific narrative. The people in there don't really care. This wasn't made by a television channel. There was no disclaimer, no way to know that this is all fiction or acted up. I mean, even if it was acted up, why the hell would you sit with someone you love and have them act out that you ruined their lives? Why would you be so specific with what's making you cry? People were very worried for ORLIN, especially longtime viewers, because if you guys remember, Nick would sit there and cry when he was skinnier, saying that ORLIN had very bad thoughts about taking his life and how he could die at any moment because he had a very rare autoimmune disease. And now you were seeing him crying about not being good enough and having gained a lot of weight. What does that say for longtime viewers? This was getting dangerous, and it wasn't even funny anymore. But by this point, people didn't even know what to believe anymore. They had broken up like 30 times. Like, at a certain point, it just gets redundant. Viewers were also tired of being blamed for their mistakes when no one was forcing them to eat this crazy amount of food so often. But others were also concerned, why is ORLIN still there if he's so unhappy? This video was in 2022. Here's another video back in 2021, a year before it, where he says the same exact thing. So let's watch.
You're not sorry. You're not sorry. You're never sorry. You don't mean what you say. You're a piece of garbage. You're not sorry. You're not. You ruined my life. You ruined my life. You're not sorry. You're never sorry. You never change.
Word for word, you ruined my life. Crying about it. It was the same pattern. But man, it was getting views. 7.8 million. Most YouTubers can only dream of getting half of this on a video. Many thought that this was just a toxic relationship that they were witnessing that could end at any moment. But the more you look into this, the more you understand this is nothing more than a dog shit reality TV show. I mean, come on, explain this title. Screaming at ORLIN and being mean to him. Who else can get away with this on YouTube? I'm sorry. This only works because they're a gay couple and they're two men. Imagine if Nick was a man and ORLIN was a woman. No one would let this pass. No one would even dare watch the video. Everyone would be reporting it and people would be all over him. Every video made about Nikocado at this point was talking about his health and the fact that he was close to death due to his obesity. No one was mentioning how bad and toxic this relationship was. I mean, look at how uncomfortable these interactions are. Look at this clip right here.
Stop giving yourself projects.
He's just recording him crying. Like, what's the point in all this?
Well, I have to do my intro and I can't. Go make your intro.
There was no indication that this was a joke, that this was staged, that this was exaggerated. Because again, at this point, the lines were blurred so much between reality and fiction that this was nothing more than a caricature. People didn't see Nick as a human anymore. His eyes were devoid of any emotion. People didn't think that he could feel anything like empathy or sympathy or just basic human emotions anymore. They saw him as a manifestation of both greed and gluttony, incapable of being able to stop himself from stuffing his face every single day while worrying about views and money. And the only person to blame was himself. Regardless, this would go viral. People would be sharing clips and making compilations that would get millions and sometimes tens of millions of views of them fighting, especially where ORLIN puts Nick in his place, because in many people's minds, ORLIN was the good guy who was dragged into this against his will, and Nick was the villain. Here's an example of a clip.
If you were a food, you would probably be like, I don't know, Popeyes? I'm trying something I've never had before, which is the crap. Is that the bad? Huh? A salad? Huh? Ever since I became a mukbanger, insomnia, sleeping issues, like I'll be up till 7 a.m. sometimes. Because you can't breathe, because you have sleep apnea, because you're so fat. It's, yeah.
You know, I really want to emphasize, even though people found this entertaining, they still wanted to see a redemption arc. They still wanted to see them get better and healthy. But it was very hard to keep thinking that way after something that Nick had done that would be crossing the line. Yes, even after all this, he would still cross yet another line, which most people wouldn't even dare to do because of how unethical it is. He would upload a video called I Had a Heart Attack on camera on his second channel, More Nikocado. As you can see, this is the thumbnail, him eating a lot of food, sitting there, fatter than he has ever been, all in the effort to make it as dramatic as possible. This made people concerned and want to click on it to see, is this finally going to be his wake-up call? Is he finally going to start losing weight since he almost lost his life? Well, as you can guess from the like to dislike ratio, people were very disappointed. Watch.
Orlin? I really need you to get in here. Click the link below and get yourself a cameo where I'll make a special video just for you. Treat yourself or surprise.
This is not edited. This was real. The guy had baited people who hated him and people who still cared about him after all these years into clicking this video only for him to shill his cameo. In the middle of his quote-unquote heart attack, he just puts this and just pretends like everything's okay. I ask you this question again. Imagine any other YouTuber does this. Would their head not be on a pike? But with Nikocado, unfortunately, people came to expect this from him. They didn't see him as a human being anymore. The guy was a walking caricature with zero emotions. After the advertisement and ORLIN showing up, he explained this in the dumbest way possible. He says that it's probably the peas in this dish and that's why he had chest pain. And then ORLIN does whatever the hell he's doing here on his shoulders. I mean, already people were very pissed, saying, please don't say you had a heart attack if you didn't. Stop faking terrible things, it's disgusting. But this wasn't enough, he needed to milk this some more. Are you surprised? Because at this point, I don't think anyone is. On his third channel, he uploaded a video called, I deleted this part from my heart attack on camera. And it was nothing more than him talking about the video, still sat there, this is the same recording, talking about it. And before you know it, within the first minute, here you go again, cameo.com, Nikocado Avocado guys, hey, book me for a little video. Trying to get as much exposure as he can from people who actually cared about him, and then continuing on with his mukbang like nothing had happened. Nikocado would continue to gain more weight, and with his weight came more health problems that he would of course make content out of in the most annoying way possible. At some point he was diagnosed with sleep apnea, which meant that he couldn't breathe properly while sleeping. The cure for that is to wear a mask while sleeping so that you can actually properly breathe and get proper rest. As soon as he can, he would start using this mask in his videos for content, and of course the videos would be called something like, My New Diet as a Disabled Person. This mask would actually start showing up a lot in his videos, for shock value of course. Oh, and let's not forget about his merch store. He would start to have expressions he'd often repeat in videos, such as, I identify as skinny or it's just water weight, and the merch centered around those. His disability would reach new heights when he bought a scooter. He would have segments where he rides it before certain mukbang videos and would use the whole I'm disabled excuse, while calling everyone peasants, of course. At some point while sleeping, he broke his ribs and of course proceeded to make a video out of it for content. Nothing, and I mean nothing, was off limits when it came to content for Nikocado Avocado. He would also play into exactly what his remaining audience wanted to see, like this video saying how much I weigh now, which was a question on everyone's minds, and yes, he would weigh himself periodically. But he of course wouldn't be done trying to use other people for his own content. Back when David Dobrik was at the top of YouTube before his big scandals, Nikocado made this video titled David Dobrik Stole From Me The Truth, Panda Express Mukbang, in which he expressed that he was supposed to be David Dobrik, that David Dobrik has stolen his future because they look alike. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, but that was the kind of content he was making. He would proceed to make a channel called Nikocado Shorts and would upload the same kinds of shocking comparison videos as to how he used to look and how he looks now, trying to bait more people to watch and interact with his channel by all means necessary. If we're going to talk about bait, his TikTok page was probably the biggest bait imaginable. He would put himself in the worst situations ever in order to just get some sort of engagement. Like, no one would actually sit there eating McDonald's the way he was if he wasn't seeking to get some sort of engagement. He knew what he was doing. There is, of course, an ulterior motive here, something way more sinister going at play, but we'll talk about that in the final part of this video. The shocking nature of his content and how weird it was to the average person prompted many bigger creators to start talking about him. Meat Canyon made an animated short of 3 minutes long with 24 million views titled King of Mukbang, which was an entire parody of who Nikocado is, drawing him as the caricature that everyone sees. And honestly, when I look at this, I think, yes, this is the person that appears in Nikocado Avocado's videos. This is meant to be a caricature, but isn't Nikocado a caricature to begin with? Charlie would make a video about him as well, with 16 million views, calling it, "This YouTuber is slowly killing himself for views," talking about Nikocado, of course. Nikocado loved the attention so much that he replied to Charlie within 4 hours of him posting his video. It was ridiculous. He was loving this. This is exactly what he wanted. Shortly after Charlie had made his video on him, Nikocado Avocado would come out with this famous 2 steps ahead monologue back when he was still severely overweight, saying that he's always 2 steps ahead, that this was the greatest social experiment he had ever done in his life, and that everyone watching him was nothing but just a bunch of ants that wanted entertainment so badly that only he could provide. To many, this signaled a sign that many people missed, like, oh my god, this was him hinting that he was going to lose weight one day, that this was nothing more than just a social experiment. Well, not really. There are a couple reasons to believe that this was never premeditated. It was just that at one point, while losing weight, it just became convenient for Nikocado to look back and think, wait, maybe I can tie it back together to the old video. One of those reasons is this. Atozi found a now privated video that was uploaded on Nikocado Avocado's Twitter, in which he was calling out the people calling his monologue a foreshadowing stupid. Watch.
I'm having a bad day. Hi, internet world. It's me, Nikocado Avocado. And let me tell you why I'm upset. It's actually your fault. Last month, YouTube video, and I said, I'm 2 steps ahead. My life on the internet is a big social experiment. And what was the result of making that video? Y'all believed it. You freaking believed it. Someone made a TikTok that got 57 million views. That says, Nikocado breaks character. Oh, I saw another one today, had 13 million views. Nikocado's played us all, he's an evil genius. Oh my god. I literally typed that out. It's not even real. Does it look like I actually acted out gaining 250 pounds? Gaining 250 pounds? I just acted out. This is all just an act. Let me just rip off my fat suit. I can't believe my eyes. Uneducated and just easily tricked people are. This is so ironic that wasn't even real. Gaining weight for clicks and to fool people? Oh, trust me, you don't mean that much. I don't care about you that much. I really don't. I'm gonna waste 6 years of my life gaining weight to entertain you. I don't think so. He breaks character. We've all been played by this evil genius. Oh my god. I literally typed up a Batman monologue and read it on camera. I'm scared for society, actually. Y'all need to go to school. Learn something. Think outside the box. Don't believe everything you're told, including from me. And yet, y'all believed it. That's actually scary.
So, did he make this video because he was too scared at the fact that too many people were catching on? He completely underestimated his audience because he truly saw them as ants? Or did he make it because he meant it? We will never know. That's the whole point. He always blurs reality with fiction. There's nothing that comes out of his mouth that's believable. Nothing. Not a single thing. He started his career as being an honest YouTuber. Now we genuinely don't know anything about him, and we will never know. But as you saw, this is one of the reasons why people think that he was just winging it, that this was never a foreshadowing or a genius plan. The second reason is this article I read in the intro of this video by Mel Magazine called Who is the Real Nick Avocado? Where he would go on to say that it's all completely scripted. There's a lot of interesting things in this article, let's go through it. Before we parse fact from fiction, we have to go back to the beginning. In my interview with Perry, he describes his early mukbangs as a big fuck you to the vegan YouTube community where he got to start making videos like the 10,000 calorie avocado challenge. When he left veganism in 2017, his audience was outraged. Most people who watched my channel were vegan, and they thought I was being immoral and unethical when I started eating meat, Perry tells me. So mukbang was kind of a middle finger, as in, I don't owe anything to these internet strangers. Better still, Perry realized he could turn that outrage into cold hard cash as he filmed himself eating fast food like McDonald's for the first time in years. Their hate caused the videos to spread, which gave me a huge boost and sent a lot of traffic to my channel, he explains. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Ever since, Perry has continued to learn how to use conflict as currency. In 2019, fellow mukbanger Stephanie Sue accused him of emotional manipulation during a collaboration video, posting videos like Why I'm Scared of Nikocado Avocado and How Nikocado Manipulated All of Us to YouTube. At the time, Sue raised the alarm after Perry encouraged her to gossip about another YouTuber. Perry tells me, however, that the entire feud was orchestrated to benefit both his career and Sue's. I reached out to Sue for comment but didn't receive a reply. We both knew that this would be the best thing for our careers, he says. Both of us got our names further out there than we ever thought possible. He describes the debacle as an opportunity to add onto his role as the villain. Although he adds that he and Sue are no longer on speaking terms, I've taken the path of a train wreck because I know that's what sells, he says. That's what keeps people's attention. They like the shit show. I'm willing to be that villain because I know it will keep people talking. To that end, there's an entire cottage industry devoted to Nick Avocado cringe compilations. So of course you have two major bombshells in this article that was written exactly 3 years before his massive weight loss reveal back in 2021. The first one was him acknowledging this was nothing more than a character, and the second one being that the whole feud between him and Stephanie Sue was fake. It was staged. But here's the issue. I don't think what happened with Stephanie Sue was staged. Things just don't add up. Even before meeting Nick, Stephanie Sue was very successful, and she still is today. She runs a channel where she talks about some of the craziest crimes against humanity committed by other humans, called Rotten Mango. And she of course has her personal channel where she uploaded mukbangs. And she has a third channel where she uploads vlogs. I don't think she needed this outrage to be able to make these things happen. Additionally, her audience is very different. Stephanie Sue is known to be honest. If she were to lie, especially on such a large scale, her entire career would be over. There's only one Nikocado Avocado. There's only one person who can fake a heart attack, peddle their Patreon, and still have a career. She definitely doesn't fall in this category. There are other things that make this hard to believe as well. The way he prompted all his friends to start saying the phrase in and out of sleeping. The fact that someone like Zach Choi had to participate in this drama by sharing his text messages even though he hates drama and avoids it at all times. And hey, listen, he did not need the growth. Look at his sub count. He has more subs on his channel than all of Nick's channels and all of Stephanie's channels combined. So why is this so significant? Well, it's simple. If he's lying about this, then what's to tell me that he's saying any truths in this entire article? How far will he take this character to lie in an article as well, in an interview with a magazine? I mean, is it really that hard to believe that he would do something like this? As I mentioned already, it's very hard to believe anything that comes out of his mouth. And I think even to this day, after all the weight loss, most people still don't know the real truth behind Nikocado Avocado. The real unsettling truth behind his entire persona and why he continued doing the things he did for years before finally losing his weight. The truth of the matter was that YouTube was on the bottom list of his priorities. He couldn't care less. Mukbang wasn't even his priority anymore. But at the same time, he wasn't even making proper money from YouTube because most of his content was being demonetized, especially after the adpocalypse. Then of course, you'd think, well, Mujin, why was he going through all this effort? Why was he uploading almost every single day? Why was he making so much content? Well, it's simple. His YouTube channel was nothing more than a front, was nothing more than a way to recruit very specific people with deep pockets to none other than his adult content. If you were to go to Nikocado Avocado's Patreon, or even his privated Twitter account, you would see something glaring at you in both. This must be age 18 or older to follow this account. Patreon, all tiers are the same. Must be age 18 or older. But why? What's going on exactly? I thought you just ate food and was a fat, funny person. Well, you know, there's a lot of people finding out about Nikocado Avocado recently, especially after the weight loss, and a lot of people actually don't know that he has an OF account. And again, you see, must be at least 18 years of age. Now, his OF page is really interesting because it's never ever mentioned on YouTube. This is normal because it goes against YouTube's terms of service. You can't link any adult websites on YouTube. And yet, it was so extremely successful. And if you're an average person watching this video, you would be probably very confused. Who the hell would pay $15 a month to see this man naked? Well, it's so much more complicated than that. To really understand, we have to go back all the way to 2017. Remember this video? I told you it was going to be important later. It's titled, "I'm Getting Fat and I Don't Know Why." And the description is also kind of weird. Let's read. "I've gained so much weight. How much weight can you gain in a day? How much weight can you gain in a week? I don't know the answer to these questions. it hasn't been enough worth mentioning. A few pounds here or there, so what? But now, it's hit me hard. I'm getting fat, and I don't even know why. My diet has been the same for the past 3.5 months, but the weight didn't come on until this week. What's the reason for this? Stress? Please help. I have no idea of what to do about this. Where do I even begin? I don't want to go back to ground zero with the whole vegan thing. It's my belief that vegan diets long-term are terrible for the brain. Thanks for the help. Now, of course, you'd read this at first and think, oh, just typical shocking content. He doesn't actually care. But there's more to this. And there are multiple possibilities here. Let's talk about them. The first possibility is that he uploaded this knowing full well what it's going to do and what it means. The second possibility is that ORLIN encouraged him to do this because he was into it. The third possibility was that he had no idea what this would do and only found out afterwards. What am I talking about? Fat fetishism. A sexual attraction directed towards overweight or obese people due primarily to their weight and size. Now, typically, this is associated with a couple of words. A feeder or a gainer. A feeder is someone who encourages someone else to get weight, and it really is a very pleasurable thing for them. While a gainer loves being encouraged to gain weight and just loves the whole aspect of gaining weight, and again, it's very pleasurable to them. If a gainer were to watch a video like this, especially with the angles that he was using, I mean, look at the most replayed right here, right? Like, especially with these angles, they would be very much into it, let's just say. But why? Well, let's go to a gainer community, the one on Reddit. The most upvoted posts are progress pictures, are comparisons of how people used to look and how they look now, from skinny to fat. That is their favorite thing, one of the most fundamentally pleasurable aspects of being a gainer/feeder. There's a post right here, one of the most upvoted on this subreddit, titled, "What's happening to me?" says the person, shocked. And in the pictures, on the left, you can see someone very skinny, and on the right, someone almost as obese as Nikocado Avocado at his peak. Why are people upvoting this? What is so special about this? Well, that's the whole point. This right here is one of the hottest things for someone who is into this. Someone going from skinny to extremely fat and not understanding, not realizing why they're gaining it so quickly. Losing control to the point where they don't even realize that they are gaining weight at an alarming level. And I mean, the comments explain themselves, right? First one says, "So hot, I need to encourage you." Damn, that's really impressive. Damn, someone ballooned. I'll tell you what, keep at it. Oh my god, congrats and mad respect. Interesting. Nikocado had uploaded 2 videos in rapid succession about his weight back in 2017, but wouldn't mention his weight that much afterwards. His videos would be mostly centered around him and ORLIN, their relationship and how toxic and crazy it is, around the food and his mental health. He would make clickbaity videos about his kidneys, about diabetes, about his health, but it wouldn't be as blatant about him gaining weight. He would then somewhat mention it again after a year, saying that he's looking weird with his double chin, he's so ugly, etc., but he wasn't committing to it. He was only sprinkling it here and there. The theory might be that he had a sugar daddy that really enjoyed this, or maybe ORLIN himself enjoyed this and was encouraging him to do it. Years would pass by, and again, he was doing shocking content involving him and his husband and how bad their relationship is. The massive turning point was the MUKBANG drama arc, when he was actually going up against other creators like Veronica Wang and Trisha Paytas. You see, up until this point, he was kind of winging it, having an idea of what he wanted to be or what he wanted to do. But when this happened, it changed things. He thought, wait, maybe I can be some sort of hero for the common folk. Maybe I can actually be loved instead of hated. Maybe that's not the only answer here. And that's exactly what he did, and it worked out splendidly until the Stephanie Sue incident happened, when he had realized that, yeah, this is not gonna work out. I clearly can't be a good guy, especially not after this incident. My reputation is gone. So I'm gonna commit to being a villain, but more importantly, I'm gonna commit to being an adult content creator. And that's when right after this, he would upload a video, Nikocado Avocado, what happened to you? And then another video titled Nikocado Avocado Then versus Now. This to me is him fully committing to the adult content objective. This video right here reminded people of how skinny and healthy he used to be being on a vegan diet. The video afterwards that we watched reminded everyone that, oh, they used to be a very healthy, happy couple on a vegan diet, and now look at them. They're very fat and they're losing control. You know who would consider this really hot? A gainer, a feeder. Because how is this any different than what we were seeing on the Reddit? How is this any different from someone showing a before and after picture? Except here, this is on a way more personal level. You're not only seeing this man's body change, but you're seeing his personal life change, his relationships, his entire surroundings change based on him not able to control his food intake. If you really think about it, Nikocado Avocado's entire channel is an archive of how healthy he used to be, how skinny he used to be, and how he gained weight slowly but surely because he kept gorging his mouth with huge amounts of food without being able to control himself. There is nothing hotter for someone who is into this. There is nothing that can compare on the entire internet. Nick had effectively found a niche, and instead of just contributing to this niche, he became someone who could supply that niche with content they would have never even thought possible. Not only was he everything that they could have ever wanted, he gave them things that they didn't even think was even possible. He was making their wildest dreams and fantasies come true. And after 2020, he made this very obvious. Look at this video right here. I'm getting fat and I don't know why, done yet again, but this time in 2020. The video starts off at a very interesting angle. He's really emphasizing the size of his belly and then, yet again, brings the camera back down to his pelvis. He had this thing where he would deliberately wear shirts that were smaller sizes to show his belly protruding. He would also touch it a lot, jiggle it a lot. And guys, listen, I'm really sorry for this because I know most of you just found this goofy, funny, but in reality, it's not. This is softcore adult content specifically made for people who like this, the gainers and the feeders. This is something that they find really hot. This might seem like a funny video to you, but in reality, this is going to make someone immediately see if he does any sort of adult content because they find this to be very attractive. The same with this. You're witnessing someone who used to be a vegan lose complete control over food and he just simply cannot stop eating. Look at how big he got. That's very hot to them. I think it's safe to say that anything you might have found funny was actually nothing more than a way to recruit more people to his OF once they realize that they're into it. This video that I've already shown you of how he used to be and how he is now, what do you think this is? It's not meant to be a sad story, it's meant to be a showcase of what you'll be finding on his OF account. Look at one of the comments that he wrote on his own TikTok. I'm crying. What did I do to my body? How did this happen? I tried so hard to eat vegetables and count my calories, but my body hates me. Again, this to me just sounds like a gainer/feeder fantasy. Now here's what's really interesting. On the Gainers subreddit, there was someone who had posted, from a non-gainer, could this Nikocado avocado theory be plausible? This links to a video from one of the only YouTubers I've ever seen talk about it, which is Your Movie Sucks. In it, he talks about something similar to this, that the entirety of Nikocado Avocado was made specifically for adult content, catered to a specific niche. The top comment says, he's not a secret gainer, he's an actual gainer. He maintains an account in a gaining site and his videos are where he plays his mukbang character. Then goes on to say he was verified by the owners of the app/company as they don't allow fakers and posers, and there are photos that cannot be found elsewhere. There's someone else with a deleted account that confirms this as well. So, I went ahead and sent a private message on Reddit to that top commenter, the one who said that Nikocado Avocado was present on an app/website for gainers where he was posting content you didn't find elsewhere. And this is where things get really interesting. I told this user who I was, the fact that I'm making a video about Nikocado Avocado and that I'd like to just know what the app is for further research. After 5 days, he finally replies to me, but there was only one message, and it was a GIF. It said, I don't understand the question, and I won't respond to it. As soon as I saw this GIF, I understood immediately what it meant. He had immediately deleted every single comment he had left in that thread. To me, this only confirms that this is true. There is an app made specifically for gainers and feeders, and Nikocado Avocado has a verified account there. When this user saw that an outsider was interested in this, he didn't want his community to be shown in a bad light, so he immediately backtracked and deleted all info. Of course, I could still be wrong, but I'm fully convinced, especially after this interaction, that Nikocado Avocado knew exactly what he was doing. Now look, gainers and feeders are not necessarily these self-destructive deviants that like to watch other human beings suffer for content or pleasure. Most of them actually partake in what they like with fictional characters, drawings, 3D animations, and typically have a rule to never involve real human beings. But still, it was really hard to ignore what Nikocado Avocado was doing because it was just too hot. It was literally everything they could have ever wanted in a fantasy, and they weren't forcing him to do it, he was doing it to himself. But yeah, it's a really fucking weird thing to be into, all right? Like, I'm just gonna say it. 6 years ago, Nikocado Avocado had posted this in his community posts on YouTube, saying, "Hey Sloth fam," this is what he used to call his community before calling them ants and peasants. "Look, I found this old photo of me when I was in New York City working as a freelance violinist back 6 to 7 years ago. I was a freshman in college, 19 years old. Look how skinny I was. And that necktie blowing in the wind. Girl, I thought it was so cool. If you guys have any more violin song suggestions for me, comment them down below right now. What should I play next?" He knew what he was doing, even 6 years ago. This brings us back to the Mel magazine article. Nick would say that him and ORLIN have gotten better and better at faking food fights, cheating meltdowns, breakups, etc. It doesn't stem from anything that reflects our relationship in real life. We learned very early on in our careers that drama is the #1 seller on YouTube. That's the most effective way to put yourself out there, and it's worked. Which brings us to the next part of the interview, in which Nick reveals that ORLIN was the one who came up with the idea for an OF account. So ORLIN not only told Nick to make a YouTube channel, he was the one to tell him to make an OF account as well. Is he the mastermind behind this? It's funny because people would think he was the victim in these fights, but it was all staged. Or was it? We don't know. Because how can we believe a single thing this caricature has to say? So this theory of ORLIN being a feeder and Nick being the gainer isn't really that far-fetched. And obviously, it's been a massive success. Nick's OF, according to him in his bio, is in the top 0.14% of creators. Yes, I read that right. 0.14. Now do me a favor, close your eyes. Imagine all the hot men and women on this goddamn website. And now imagine how this dude is making more money than most of them. Oh yeah, I know. I know. It's crazy. There are videos reacting to his OF content, and let me tell you, they're not happy about it. As you can see, the reactions are wonderful. They're very much into it. There was actually one picture from this OnlyFans that I unfortunately saw because it was circulating everywhere in the internet as a shocker, and it was pretty much Nick on all fours sitting there, okay? Taken from the back, and what you could see was his blown out asshole after ORLIN had done giving him back shots, okay? It's honestly one of the nastiest things. I can literally, when I close my eyes, I can see it. It's one of the nastiest things I've ever seen in my life. This is like my Vietnam flashback. So that was also a way for him to advertise his OF. You don't necessarily see something go so viral from that website. You know, this is definitely a very unique case. After the OF's massive success, Nikocado would upload this video titled "My New House Tour, I Bought a $2.3 million Penthouse in Las Vegas." This was his crowning achievement. He had destroyed his body for years, made a fool of himself, tricked people, manipulated them, ruined lives, all for the sake of getting more traction to his OF account and buying this penthouse, becoming financially very comfortable.
You know, I sit up here in my tower and watch everyone struggle and be poor. It's so entertaining. I love watching poor people. They struggle. Oh, I just need popcorn. I could sit here and watch them struggle all day. So up here in my tower, because I'm so rich.
You know, when he says stuff like this, and he looks like that, you can't take it very seriously. This goes back to when Stephanie Sue was saying that she was scared for her life because of him, and then you saw this. It's like, really? This is what you're scared of right here? But then you look at this, and now he's calling everyone ants, how he's behaving, now that he's skinny, and you can actually take him seriously, and all of a sudden, I understand what Stephanie was seeing in him. I don't know who this man is, and I'm starting to believe he doesn't either. Who is Nicholas Perry? Who the hell knows? In any case, he finally uploaded this video called 2 Steps Ahead very recently in September 2024. In it, he says that he was 2 steps ahead, that while everyone was calling him fat and irrelevant the day before, he is now back, and he has lost all his weight, saying that it has been the craziest social experiment of his entire life. He uploaded the video one day after Sunny V2 had uploaded Nikocado's new video is honestly just depressing, in which he sat there, super fat, saying I've ruined my whole life. It was a video uploaded months ago, right? So fairly old. And around the same time that Sunny V2 uploaded his video, iNabber uploaded a 7-hour, yes, 7 whole hours documentary of Nikocado Avocado. The stars aligned for Nicholas Perry like it was a prophecy. He waited for the perfect moment and uploaded it, making both videos become outdated in the span of 24 hours. Was he really 2 steps ahead when it came to the weight loss? No, I think he winged it. I think it was part of his plan to lose weight, but this whole 2 steps ahead monologue was just a happy coincidence. Many people were trying to discredit his weight loss, saying that he had just used Ozempic and got the easy way out. Now yes, Ozempic does help a lot, but it's not going to make you lose 250 pounds exclusively by itself. You still have to put in a lot of hard work. So it's pointless to say this. But how the hell did he manage to do it? You've no doubt seen some people talking about it. It turned out that he had a huge backlog of videos and was uploading them as he was losing weight over the span of 2 years. But while he melted a lot of fat over these last 2 years, it doesn't mean that he melted all the ugly aspects of his personality that he displayed for years, excusing it as some social experiment like a prankster from 2016. What I do think though is that he was 2 steps ahead in another way. He was 2 steps ahead in regards to his adult content. Very few people even thought of this being a possibility, and I genuinely think this is the truth. He was so ahead of everyone when it came to this that no one really understood it. No one really thought it a possibility. Everyone was focused on the fact that this guy was killing himself for YouTube views, when this wasn't even a part of the equation. Nikocado Avocado was more of a sex worker than he ever was a mukbanger, and that's the truth. Now what happens next? Well, he loves attention, he loves fame, we know that much. He'll probably do normal videos. Who knows? Many people who still believed the fact that him and ORLIN had a lot of relationship issues think that ORLIN had left him. I don't think so. I think they're still together. But Nicholas Perry is a very smart guy when it comes to YouTube, views, and in general, videos. From any YouTuber's standpoint, it would be so stupid to make your big reveal with ORLIN. He milked the fact that he lost a lot of weight. Expect another video on his Nikocado Avocado channel with him and ORLIN both having lost weight, acting all happy, like nothing had happened, like this was genuinely all a bad dream that they just woke up from. And that video will also break the internet. Overall, Nikocado Avocado's story is something very unique, something that has never really been done at this scale on YouTube. But the dark secret behind it all is that halfway through, it wasn't even about mukbang anymore, and it wasn't even about YouTube. During all those years though, he was a roller coaster, a mess that had endangered other YouTubers' careers, that had put others in shitty situations, and that had manipulated his viewers to care about him, to actually worry about him, only to tell them, I don't give a single shit. I personally am, as well as many others, very curious about what the future holds for him, but for now, all we can do is wait for his next video, which will most likely involve ORLIN. Thank you so much for watching this video, especially till the end. You're a real one. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. I'm definitely taking a break after this one, though. Mwah!